What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got a video rounding up all of the key Edge of Fate changes, which are going to affect loot and rewards in Destiny 2 moving forward. So this is actually a recap of all of the things Bungie have said in relation to Kepler gear, progression and quests that we'll get on that new destination, how the portal interacts with rewards, that includes the power and progression grind in general, but also big changes coming to weapons, armor, the seasonal hub and featured gear, and generally a bunch of Bungie's best commentary about the system changes coming up in Edge of Fate. So I hope this is useful guys. If it is, a rating below really does help us out. Now though, let's run the video.
What we're showing on screen right now is the world tier difficulty selector that's on the destination. And so right now we're in the fabled difficulty. And so brave and legendary, you can play through the campaign, you can play through the main quest, the story. After you do that, you're gonna unlock fabled and mythic difficulties. The difficulty really escalates and then the gear gets better. And so if you're hunting for that, you know, that tier 2+, 3, 4 loot, right, you're gonna be needing to play and fabled and mythic to find that. Those higher tier loot, yeah. Both Fabled and Mythic have their very own quest associated with them as part of the post game that are one part of like completing the Triumphant Seal to earn some exclusive cosmetics and emblems, but also these world quests unlock some additional loot in the game as well. So specifically the Mythic quest that's associated with that world tier unlocks a variant armor set for the Kepler armor. So as you're playing through the campaign and throughout the experience, there's a 2 and 4 set piece bonus on the Kepler armor set. Once you complete that mythic world tier quest, you unlock a variant of that has a different set bonus and a unique shader on it as well. Awesome. There's this material called a Fated Cipher as well. And so you're going to be combining destination materials that you get from basically doing almost anything inside of the region alongside Fated Ciphers in order to be able to purchase specific items at the destination vendor called the Altar of Relativity. Through the vendor, you can go and look at it and be like, okay, today's focus is the Gorge, which the fire team is looking at today. Most of the materials that you're earning here can be used to purchase gear, or you can convert your other materials you might have from other regions in order to convert it into the Gorge materials to buy stuff. But every day it's going to shift. That daily focus is going to shift, and so change what you're focused on, what gets you access to that direct purchase loot. Basically, you're going to be able to attune at the vendor a specific piece of gear, armor, or weapon, and any drop on Kepler that drops a piece of armor or weapon will have a chance to be that gear. We just wanted to make sure that as you're playing through the destination, as like you're carving your own path, you're figuring out your own farm routes inside of each of these 4 regions each day of the week. We wanted to make sure that, like, hey, if you're looking for the Giver, that auto rifle that's coming with the Edge of Fate here on Kepler, it's like you have a chance to get it anytime a piece of loot drops. Awesome.
We've seen a ton of questions about getting Raid Race ready. So Raid Race is going to be coming out on the Saturday after launch. I believe it's the 19th of July. Yeah. What difficulty should players play at to get ready for race?
Yeah, so if you want to be power ready for the contest mode race for the Edge of Fate, you're going to want to play the Legendary campaign. And so when you step out of the Legendary campaign, you will be power ready at that point.
The portal is our new front page of the game. We're trying to get you to the fun as fast as possible and as few clicks as we can. We even have Edge of Fate there in the corner so that it's right immediately there. No fumbling around with the map to get to it really. And we're also taking other big parts of the game, the ritual game and for seasons, and putting them into these ops categories.
You're going to be able to experience the entirety of the power climb within Crucible Ops by playing PvP. Right?
My player type or other folks out in the community, like they want to go in, they want to jam on PvP, but then their friends invite them to do a dungeon or a higher tier activity, and they're like, oh wait, I need to grind a long time to get up to power. Now, through PvP, they can get up to power, and you can just bring them into that PvE experience and have a fun time with each other.
So we really want to give agency. That's one of the things, player driven towards loot and challenge, and so we have a really hugely expanded activity customization system. We have a lot more difficulty levels, and we have a ton of new modifiers. We have 50 new modifiers along with all the old modifiers that we've released in the past that are going to make this big curated web of options for you to experience any of the PvE content in the curator.
What's changing about loot and why should Guardians care?
Yeah, so talking about chases and mountains and builds, gear's at the center of all of that. So we're adding set bonuses, which is a long requested feature for all the new armor that you're going to be able to get at Edge of Fate launch, and we're redoing all the stats on armor, where they can now like exceed 100.
Go beyond 100.
Go beyond 100 for extra bonuses.
Yep.
We're going to, every single piece of new legendary armor that drops is going to have all the energy filled in, so you can build crafting right away.
This is an entirely new suite of stats, does different things. All of our stats now, instead of going to 100, they go to 200. So once you go above 100, you get an additional benefit put on top of the 0 to 100 benefit. And then the 100 to 200 range, we're increasing things like damage, things like survivability, which is somewhere we've never really, gone into. And it's going to really give players more tools to customize their build, pinpoint single, like I'm going to be this badass grenade thrower that's just doing shit tons of grenade damage, or I could be more defensive or more weapon focused and all of this, right?
Something that we can't talk about too, you mentioned gear tiers as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so gear tiers are very exciting because every single legendary weapon and armor that you can get is going to have 5 gear tiers, starting from 1 going up to 5. And you can see that this is looks really cool with the iconography, but it also has a ton more stats. And oh, look, what's that?
Yeah, what's going on with the energy there?
Yeah, the energy.
Ben?
Yeah, that energy says 11, and it's true.
11. Yep.
It's not a typo. Energy is going to 11 for higher tier armor. And so if you want that for your build crafting opportunities, it does give you some new options you never had before. You're gonna have to challenge yourself to get more higher tier armor and keep on going to get yet more higher tier armor to get those options. Once you reach tier 5 for your legendary drops, you're going to be getting tier 5 weapons, and those have unique shader treatment. It's essentially a completely different look that's going to immediately identify it to you and others that this is the highest tier gear of this drop that you can get. It's going to show on the weapon, it's going to show on the icon, it's even going to show when you kill enemies with that weapon, because there's unique kill effects for tier 5 weapons that you can turn on or off if you don't want it, but your gameplay will show that, no, yeah, the weapon that is being used is the highest tier you can get.
So gear tiering enables players to look at a piece of gear at a glance and understand how powerful it is. The stat package or the stat pool that each piece gives is going to depend on the tier. So you can see at tier 1, it's going to drop between 52 and 57 stat totals, and then at tier 5, you are guaranteed 75 stats plus stat tuning, which lets you kind of add some.
In the game now, we have UI that tells you exactly what are the stat bands for each of the tiers, so you know what you're looking for as you're trying to build to 200 or 150 or whatever you're looking for.
Now it's just you're going into the toppest end difficulty thing to get tier 5s, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
So it's significantly more likely that when you get your drop, it's going to be something valuable. It might not be valuable to your exact build, but it will be valuable. It'll be the stats total that you want.
Yeah, Eric?
Yeah, and with the new portal system, you're going to have a score goal that you want to hit to get that exact armor piece, and it's more targeted farming, or more targeted, if I want to chase a certain thing, I know what I have to do to get it.
We have some examples of tier 1, tier 3, and tier 5 weapons to show what is that progression looking like.
Tier 1 weapon, it's going to have base stats, it's going to have a limited perk pool there, but then you can see at tier 3, we now have 2 enhanced traits. We have some of our columns are going to have more perk options in them. And then tier 5 is going to have even more. Look at the options here, and so much enhancement. And
tier 4 you get the enhanced weapon mods too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, kind of like how armor is you have a much better understanding of when I'm starting an activity, what is the expectation of the things I'm getting. This the multi-perk and the enhanced perks kind of work for that too. So the odds of you getting that specific god roll or multi-god roll, if you're looking for the combo PvP, PvE weapon, are a lot higher than in past activities where you're just getting, okay, I'm going to get 1 adept with 1 trait in each column.
Yeah, and we're adding a lot of depth. As we were hovering over those enhanced perks, they have additional things that they can do, whether it be stats or power for the perk. We're putting all of these details into the game so people know as they're getting into this depth, they can hover over these things, understand all the different stats.
For Edge of Fate, we are building a crossbow. It plays like a new archetype, but it is technically a bow for the purposes of, it's going to fill all your bounties, that kind of stuff. We want the feeling of really drawing it back and it hitting a single target and doing a ton of damage. When you shoot that big heavy bolt and it hits your target, you can just go pick it back up. So this thing theoretically is a heavy weapon with unlimited ammo. You can use the same bolt for an entire nightfall if you want.
You were talking about this being legendary, so that means random rolls, and you had mentioned bolts.
We have bolt types. And the bolt types, instead of just being stats, they're going to alter the way the bolt actually behaves out in the world.
Yeah.
One of them is like explosive bolt, where it's going to put in a target, it'll like beep, 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 and it'll just explode, kind of like a grenade launcher. My personal favorite is that we have serrated bolts, and you can put like the bolt in a target with serrated bolts, and you can normally draw them back out of living targets, but if you have serrated bolts, they're going to deal damage on the exit too.
Alongside the new weapon archetype of the crossbow, we have some new weapon frames coming to the game.
Yeah, we do.
Let's start with the hand cannon.
All right, yeah, so we have the spread shot hand cannon. It's like a big, chunky, beefy hand cannon that fires shotgun pellets. Very close range, but hard hitting, 2-tap PvP.
It's kind of like having like a sawed-off that's
Yeah.
like a primary ammo, and it is just so good if you play aggressive or you use like other abilities to hit people.
It's
or
really
just
good
want
as like a
bolt.
mixer in between other stuff.
Right, and that's exactly how I play, so I love this thing.
We have a new bow frame that's going to be coming.
Yeah, so we made a longbow, which is like a big, heavy war bow, even slower draw than precisions, but more damage, and it has intrinsic overpenetration. So if you line up a bunch of thrall and you like hip fire a full draw, it'll just go straight through all of them with one shot.
And then the final weapon we got on tap is going to be a special weapon.
I know a lot of people are big fans of rocket-assisted sidearms. Now we have a rocket-assisted frame pulse rifle. It's a little more ammo hungry than the sidearms. It got a bit more range and hits a bit harder. So it kind of fits in between like a fusion rifle and a sniper rifle. It also kind of fires a little bit differently than pulse rifles, which is interesting, just because like all of our pulse rifles have like different burst delay, but when you're firing each pulse, they all have like the same rate of fire. So this, instead of being like the brr, it's like a bop bop bop. So it feels heavier and it's firing these like big, slower projectiles. So it feels chunkier.
What is new or featured gear?
Yeah, so our new gear, when we drop new weapons and armor, that is going to get a bonus. It's going to be a little bit stronger than your other options. So armor side, you are going to get a damage resistance bonus per piece you have equipped, and that is, it kind of scales by gear tier. So if I have 5 tier 1 armor pieces, I'm going to have 5% damage resistance against, everything. But if I have 5 tier 5 gear pieces, I'm going to have 15% damage versus everything.
It's actually 10% on your additional damage when you get all your tier 5 weapons equipped. So again, cherry on top, where it kind of gives you that edge.
So if you see that little kind of teal icon in the top left corner of the armor piece, that's going to tell me that it is in the new gear pool.
Here's our featured gear. So if you have some things from previous releases, those are going to be a part of the building or build crafting as well.
You're going to have 200 points of power in the soft cap band.
Intrinsic cap, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you're going to be able to go and do any activity you want across the game in order to get to that point. Once you get past that, then you enter the seasonal bonus power, which is where you're going to have to start doing more of the portal activities and the Kepler, like world tiers and stuff, in order to get the power and progression that you want to get at that point.
First 190 levels, so up to 200, that's going to be effectively your base power level.
Yep.
And then as you're going into more powerful activities, higher tiers, that's when you start going up and up.
Right, and you'll be able to get up to 450 power.
So when we're talking about seasonal power, is that replacing the artifact power that we have?
Exactly. Like, we did simplify power a little bit further by taking power off of the artifact, and that allowed us to take the power we had there and put it back into the gear. Limit of the pinnacles is no longer a thing. We're going to have some challenges in the game that act as accelerators for you.
Yeah, like everything in the portal is a source of pinnacle drops.
Exactly.
As much as you want.
As many times as you complete it, with it being up to how you perform and how challenging you make the activities to be how far you can go.
Right. You still have to achieve that score as you go up in power for the higher difficulties to get that better loot.
Right.
At the highest level, upgrade modules are no longer a part of that infusion thing. They're still going to continue to exist in the game. They can still drop from legacy content, but you can dismantle those for, I think it's an enhancement core and like 1500 glimmer. We're going to have a new unstable core currency that's going to exist, and you're going to use that in addition to enhancement cores in order to infuse your gear up for the season.
Okay. And a bit of glimmer too, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.